This is Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa. The story of resurgent and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel. Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Hello, I'm your host, Adam Masai, for this hour's news. Let's start from the African Union call at COP30. A COP30 leaders event in Belém roundtable on the implementation of adaptation goals, AUC chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf called for urgent climate justice, noting that though Africa contributes less than 4% of global emissions, it bears the brunt of the crisis. He urged industrialized nations to honor adaptation finance pledges, not as charity but as moral and historical responsibility. Africa, he said, is not waiting. Through the AU Climate Strategy from 2022 to 2032, the Decade of Smart Agriculture, the Blue Economy Strategy, and Mission 300 for Clean Power Access, the continent is advancing resilience and prosperity. He called for the full operationalization of the global goal on adaptation, moving from plans to action, and ensuring predictable, equitable finance for vulnerable nations. Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda said in a statement on Friday that they had agreed an economic pact in Washington. Reuters earlier reported that technical teams from the delegations had signed the Regional Economic Integration Framework on Friday. The REIF outlines key areas for fostering economic cooperation and development between the two nations, according to a statement released by the State Department after a meeting of a joint oversight committee. It is due to be signed by heads of state during a visit to the White House, but the date for that visit is unclear. The implementation of the framework remains contingent upon the satisfactory execution of a previous agreement, according to the statement. Congolese and Rwandan foreign ministers in June signed a peace deal in Washington, which included a pledge to implement a 2024 agreement. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam is imperative to ensure regional integration, drive towards sustainable growth, and to transform the continent, African Export-Import Bank, Afrexim Bank Operations Managing Director Kwambena Irabi said. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, GERD, the largest hydroelectric power plant in Africa, is expected to facilitate regional energy integration through power exports and promote stability, cooperation, and shared prosperity. In an exclusive interview with Pulse of Africa, the Banking Operations Managing Director said Ethiopia is one of the largest countries on the continent with a very rich history, and it is imperative that countries such as Ethiopia drive a transformation in the continent, he noted. Noting the significant potential of the dam, Arabi expressed his expectation to see Ethiopia making significant strides in industrialization and manufacturing across the continent, feeding into the African Continental Free Trade Area. It all looks really quite positive, and the African Export-Import Bank looks for opportunities to support this transformation, the Banking Operations Managing Director stated. According to him, it is good to see countries taking ownership of changing the energy landscape of their countries. For the Banking Operations Managing Director, energy independence is quite imperative across the continent, which is critical to drive towards sustainable growth. Arabi reaffirmed Afrexim Bank's commitment to continue to be a strong partner for Ethiopia and to participate in the industrial transformation of the country.
This is Africa, the cradle of humanity, the frontier of the future, a land of visionaries, creators and pioneers, a continent of unstoppable energy where innovation meets tradition, where voices rise, loud and fearless.
I am an African.
This is the heartbeat of a billion people, diverse, bold, united by a single purpose to tell our own stories in our own way. No borders, no barriers, no filters. A new era of African storytelling is here. From every corner of the continent, from the bustling cities to the quiet villages, we tell Africa's story by Africans for the world. This is the land of a rising Africa, where Africa speaks and the world listens. This is why today we bring you POA, Pulse of Africa, the face and voice of Africa.
Nigeria's inaugural Black Muse Art Festival kicked off today with the unveiling of a 15-meter bamboo pavilion in the Aikogba neighborhood, marking the opening of a new sculpture park. Founded by artist Victor Ehimanor, the event celebrates African creativity through performances, bronze casting workshops, film screenings, and exhibitions featuring contemporary West African artists like Kelly Omodamwen and David Alabo. It coincides with the public opening of the Museum of West African Art on November 11, showcasing artifacts from Nigeria and beyond. The festival underscores a push for community-driven green spaces intertwined with art. The 21st African Movie Academy Awards, the continent's premier celebration of African cinema, will take place on Sunday, November 9, 2025, at the Balmoral Convention Center, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. The awards continue to attract top filmmakers, actors, producers, and other creative professionals from across Africa and the diaspora, all gathering to celebrate excellence in African storytelling and cinematic achievements. The 2025 nominations have already been announced, notably the film Katanga, The Dance of the Scorpions, Burkina Faso leads with 10 nominations, including major categories, while veteran Nigerian actress Shafi Bello has been nominated for Best Actress in a Leading Role for her performance in The Masked King. Organizers also continue to welcome sponsorships and partnerships from brands and stakeholders in the creative, entertainment, and film sectors. Founded in 2005 by Peace Aniam Osigwe and organized by the African Film Academy, AMAA has grown into one of Africa's most prestigious film awards. It recognizes excellence in feature films, documentaries, shorts, animations, and technical crafts such as editing, sound, and cinematography, including works by African filmmakers living abroad. Durban-born rapper and influencer Jay Price, the 27-year-old sensation behind viral hits like Yalla Habibi, announced a landmark partnership with global powerhouse Downtown Music and its distribution arm Fuga, marking a major win for South African hip-hop's international push. Signed through his label, YRG Century, the deal will amplify Price's music across 150-plus streaming platforms worldwide, including Spotify and Apple Music, while providing access to advanced analytics, sync licensing for films or TV, and marketing support tailored for African artists. Price, whose eclectic style fuses piano grooves with trap influences and Zulu storytelling, celebrated the news with a surprise pop-up concert at Johannesburg's Maponeng precinct, drawing 5,000 fans and featuring guest spots from heavyweights like Casper Nyovest and MT. In an exclusive interview with OK Africa, Price revealed the deal stems from his independent grind over 50 million streams since his 2023 breakout EP Straight Echoes and aims to put Durban on the map like never before. Industry insiders hail it as a blueprint for emerging African talents navigating the post-streaming era, especially with Price's upcoming album, Century Rise, slated for a December release. Moving on to business news. President Joseph Niyuma Boakai on Friday submitted the draft national budget for fiscal year 2026 to the national legislature, amounting to US $1.2 billion. The budget was formally presented to House Speaker Richard Nagbe Kun. According to the draft 2026 budget, domestic revenue accounts for $1.13 billion US, while external resources represent $72 million. Domestic revenue projections include tax revenue of $726.97 million, non-tax revenue of $83.92 million, meets sign-on bonus of $200 million and contingent revenue of $28 million. The proposed budget allocates approximately $280 million to projects under the Public Sector Investment Plan (PSIP), a key pillar of the administration's development framework focused on agriculture, roads, rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism. In his budget message to the legislature, President Boakai commended lawmakers for the timely passage of the fiscal year 2025 national budget, which facilitated a more effective and transparent implementation of government programs during the current fiscal year. The president urged the national legislature to ensure a timely and transparent review and approval of the fiscal year 2026 draft budget, emphasizing the importance of maintaining legislative due diligence and accountability in the process. Finally, the mining ministers of Botswana and Angola held talks in Botswana's capital on Friday on cooperation in the diamond sector as the two southern African countries seek to take control of the Anglo-American Diamond Unit, De Beers. Botswana, which owns 15% of De Beers and contributes 70% of its annual rough diamond production, considers the company a strategic national asset, despite a slump in the global diamond prices that has hurt its economy. Angola initially sought a minority stake in De Beers, but later submitted a bid for a majority stake, setting up a potential bidding war with its neighbor. Botswana's Mines Minister Bogolo Joy Kenewendo and Angolan Minister Diamantino Pedro Azevedo discussed collaboration in the diamond industry as well as energy and logistics at a meeting briefly open to reporters. Before that, they held a closed-door meeting which lasted about 40 minutes. At the top of everyone's minds this year is the performance of the diamond industry and our collaborative efforts in bringing back the spark and the shine to the industry, Kenewendo said. Now let's check the current weather forecast. Before we wrap up, I would like to invite you to watch the Inaugural program, which delves into the life of Jomo Kenyatta, the former president of Kenya. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.